Hi all, good evening. Guys, please let me know if I'm audible to everyone.
Yes, it's audible.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Let's wait for another 2 or 3 minutes and then we will start. All right. So this is going to be the demo session for Azure 104, right? And I'm going to be a trainer. And I have around 7 years of experience in cloud as well as in on-prem infrastructure. And right now also I'm working as a cloud ops engineer, and I'm certified AWS and Azure 104 certified. And also apart from Azure, I used to teach SCCM and MCSA. All right. This is all about me. Now, AZ104, right? Azure 104. So there are multiple cloud providers nowadays, right? Which is AWS, GCP, Google Cloud, Alibaba, IBM, and then Microsoft Azure. Okay, so first of all, we need to understand that why cloud computing is needed, why cloud computing is there, why we need to go for cloud computing, right? And what is going to be the prerequisite? If let's say you want to go for cloud, right? You want to opt cloud for your infra, you want to move your infrastructure to cloud. So what and all are going to be the prerequisite in order to move your existing infrastructure to cloud? Now, cloud is nothing. Cloud is also a data center, right? Where actually you are going to get the 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 infra based on the usage. Like if you are using it for 24 into 7 in a month, then based on that usage only, you have to pay the amount to the cloud vendor. Either it would be AWS or it would be Azure. Okay, so that is basically called as pay as you go service. That means until or unless if you are not going to run any of the service in cloud, no need to pay. But if you are running it, if you are running the virtual machines, if you are running the storage, so for that you have to pay to the Microsoft based on the usage. Now let's say in one day you are using it for 2 hours only, you are turning on a virtual machine for 2 hours, so you have to pay the amount for 2 hours. That's it. So this is the beauty of cloud infra, to making your infrastructure on cloud. So this is going to be the benefit, right? And there are multiple benefits. So if I am talking about on-prem versus cloud, so in case of on-prem, if you are building your infra on on-prem, like I'm talking about traditional, right? We used to do in our organizations, right? When cloud was not there. So in that case, if I need to build a infra, okay, I need to purchase the servers. I have to procure the servers, right? Like this. And along with servers, I need to get the server racks also. These are the racks. Inside these racks, I can mount my servers. Right? So depending upon your application usage, you have to build the infra. You have to procure the servers. You have to procure the server racks. And if you want to run, then in that case also, you need multiple things. You need multiple things. First of all, you have to get an air conditioned environment, right? If you are going to run this much of servers, in that case, there would be, you would be needing a air conditioned environment. First of all, it is going to cost you a much, right? Then you will be needing switches. Switches, right? In order to communication, you have to connect the switches also, as well as you will be needing firewalls. Firewall, right? Then ISP, internet service provider. Uh, okay, let me connect a router then. Okay, I will be needing a router also. Right? And then power backup. Obviously, if you want to run these servers 24/7, right? We will be needing power backup also. Let's say this is the power backup. You can say these inverters or the generators. Power backup. Anything else I need to get in order to build a on-prem infrastructure as per you? Anything else I need to add here?
Cabling, fiber, or
Exactly.
copper.
Exactly. We'll be needing cables also. In order to connect these machines, we will be needing cable. It can be anything, right? Copper or fiber, whatever cables you are connecting, it can be anything, right? Then what else?
In some cases, you might need load balancers.
Load balancers can be the servers itself, right? We can configure the load balancer inside the servers.
Correct.
Right, so it is, it we can include it in the server itself. Okay, along with it, we will be needing some monitors also. If I need to take the servers on remote, right, I need to connect a monitor also. Multiple monitors we will be needing. Along with it, keyboards, mouse. So all these things are included in order to build a on-prem infrastructure. But if I'm talking about cloud, nothing. Everything will be taken care by the cloud vendor. If I'm talking about Azure, so everything will be taken care by the Microsoft. You have to just build your infra over there. You have to just select the compute power, that how much virtual CPUs you will be needed. It will be needing in order to build the virtual machine. How much hard disk you needed. Either it would be a SSD or normal HDD. So all these things, depending upon your requirement, you can make your infrastructure on the cloud based on the requirement of the organization. Right? And obviously, higher will be the compute power, higher will be the cost. So based on the even let's say if you are making a file server, right? So based on the storage you are defining, if it would be 5 GB, then obviously the cost will be low, right? If it would be 5 TB, then in that case, cost will be high. Okay, so first of all, while you are going to choose cloud, you have to make a vision that what and all services you want to configure, right? Along with it, you have to analyze the cost also, because cost is the key factor actually for any of the organization, right? Cost is a key factor. So you should be aware of the cost, that how much Microsoft or Amazon is going to charge whenever you are going to build an infrastructure on their platform. Right now, what these cloud vendors are doing, so they have a big data center basically, under which there are multiple server racks are available. If I can show you on internet, might be there would be some images. Kind of this thing. So at the end, they are also they have also configured the servers, the hardware on their data center, right? And they are offering us to create their infra on these hardwares. Earlier also, if you're talking about on-prem, right? The thing is, these hardware you were having in your own data center, but now Microsoft is saying, I am going to take care of everything. I'm going to give you the high availability 24 into 7, right? I'm going to give you ISP, I'm going to give you routing, I'm going to give you security, everything I'm going to give you. Just you have to build the infra, you have to choose the service which you want to create, and based on that, I'm going to charge from you. Right? Then, as I as I was explaining, that in order to go for the cloud, we should analyze the cost first of all. Obviously, it is a key factor for any of the organization that we should analyze the cost. Okay, so even whatever the cloud you are choosing, so let's say we are going for Azure. So in that case, you can go for Azure calculator, Azure pricing calculator. In that case, you can get an idea that what is going to be the cost charged by the Microsoft if I am going to build 100 virtual machine with this much of compute power. For example, let's say I'm going with, so whatever the services are available in the Microsoft Azure, you can choose any one of them and you can select, you can define, and based on that, Microsoft is going to give you the idea that how much will be the cost. Again, if you are taking a subscription for 3 years, in that case, you will get a discount also. Okay, so if you're going to get a subscription from Microsoft for around 3 years, so in that case, Microsoft will give you the discount as well, right? So just for example, I want to test whether what will be the cost charged by the Microsoft if I am going to create 5 virtual machines with 8 GB of RAM and 2 virtual CPU. So again, it totally depends on the nature of the application. Now, let's say if you're configuring a web application, so obviously for that you will be needing a high compute power because in that case you have to make sure that your website should be highly available for all the customers, right? So in that case, obviously we have to define a good compute, right? So I am choosing for now virtual machines, and I'll go to view. And now I will define the region. See guys, so there are multiple regions available. So these regions are nothing. These are basically the data centers. So in East US, let's say if you're selecting the region as East US, then in that case, you are configuring your virtual machine in the East US data center. Okay, let's say you have a client in US, right? So why to configure their infra in India location or any other location? Right, so you can build their infrastructure on their region itself, and it is going to make high availability of the application. Again, there would be a low latency in order to connect the virtual machine locally, so there would be a low latency, right? So cost depends on the region as well. If you're configuring a virtual machine in East US, right, the cost will be, so I'm going with two virtual CPU and 8 GB RAM, okay, and 50 GB temporary disk. So let me see, if I'm going to run one virtual machine for 730 hours, okay, or you can define, let's say I am defining 1 month, okay, I'm going to run this machine for 1 month with two virtual CPU and 8 GB of RAM, then what would be the cost? It would be around $137. See, as I was telling you, if you are going to take a subscription, in that case, you can get a discount of 62%. If you're reserving it for 1 year, then a 40% of discount you will get from the Microsoft. Let me select 3 years. Now let's see what's the cost. Now it is reduced to $94. And at the same time, if I'm going to change the the region, now let me change it to, let's go with India, right? India, and I'm going with the central India. Earlier it was $94, right? Let me test what is in India. What will the cost if I'm going to build this virtual machine in India? So the cost will be $95.27. Around there would be a difference of $1. Same way, if you are going to select Dubai or UAE, in that case, UAE is the most expensive, I believe. Okay, so let's go with the UAE. Yeah, UAE Central. Right, now let's see what's the cost. It's $108. So here what we understood is, so the cost is dependent on the location also. Based on the location, the cost will vary, the price will vary. We are taking the same compute. See, we have not changed the compute, it is same, but we have seen a difference, that if I'm taking it in East US, then it would be 94. If I'm building it in India, then it would be around 96. And again, if I'm building it in UAE, then it would be $108. Right, so based on region, your cost is going to vary. Same in case you are going with AWS also. If you are going with AWS, in that, so in that case as well, the cost will vary based on the region you are selecting, based on the data center you are selecting, right? And whenever you are going to build this infra, right, at that time itself, you can configure the high availability also. What it will do, let's say I configured a virtual machine. So this is the data center which is of Microsoft, right? Microsoft Azure. So right, so this is the data center, and inside this data center, these much racks are available, and multiple servers are mounted on these racks, right? Let's say on this rack, you configured one virtual machine VM, one Windows VM, let's say. let's say you have configured one virtual machine on this machine. So first of all, you will not be you are not going to have any control that you can configure the virtual machine on this rack or on this rack or on this rack. It totally depends upon the Microsoft. You have to just trigger your request that you want to build a virtual machine. Then based on Microsoft is going to create a virtual machine on your behalf on any of the rack. It depends on Microsoft, right? So I have configured one virtual machine here. Now let's say I am hosting one website on this virtual machine, right? And at any point of time, this virtual machine is down. Then obviously my customers will not be able to reach to my website. They will not be able to access my website. Then Microsoft is giving me one more option that I can configure the virtual machine on 3 different racks. Just a second. So that if any of, because see, at the end it might possible, at the back end it might possible that Microsoft is doing some maintenance on this rack. It might possible, right? Because obviously you are not having any, you are not going to have any control on the maintenance. Or let's say there is a power backup issue with this particular rack, then in that case how the customers will be able to reach to our website, right? So Microsoft is giving us the option that same kind of virtual machine you can configure on 3 different racks, so that if any of the rack is under maintenance or any of the virtual machine is down, still my customers, my users will be able to access my website from this VM. This is just, I'm giving you one example, right? It can be load balancers also. You can place the load balancers as well. Just I'm trying to explain you that you can configure the 3 virtual machines on 3 different racks, so that if any of the rack is facing any issue, some maintenance issue, still my customers will be able to reach to my website from another machine. So this is the beauty, right? Then, so what is cloud computing? Cloud computing nothing. Cloud computing is basically you are configuring your infrastructure on the vendor's data center. That's it. On the cloud vendor's data center, right? And you are paying to the cloud vendor based on the services you are using. That's it, right? Now, so first of all, we'll understand what is the cloud computing, then why cloud computing, then what are the types, what are cloud providers, what is the life cycle of cloud computing, right? In order to go to the cloud, so what and all things you have to prepare, what and all preparation work you have to do before going to the cloud. So these all things we are going to talk about today. Okay. Before that, if you have any query, you can unmute yourself and you can ask.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, for that 3 lag option, is there any additional charges are there or with the same?
Obviously, it would be the additional charges over there as well, right? Obviously, it is not free of cost. You have to pay to the Microsoft, all right? And there is one more thing you can do in the cloud, right? If let's say at any point of time, guys, just a second. All right. And one more thing I was explaining, that if at any point of time I want to increase the compute power of these VMs, I can do it. Let's say 2 virtual CPU and 8 GB of RAM is not enough for this VM. I can increase it. No need to decommission, no need to terminate. Just you have to stop the VM, right? And you can increase the compute power within seconds. But again, if this thing you have to do for your on-prem network, on-prem infra, then obviously it is going to take time, right? And even sometime you have to check the compatibility also, whether motherboard is going to support the additional hardware or not, right? But this time, in case of cloud, nothing to worry about. You have to just select your desired compute power and you can build your infra. Okay. Anything else you want to discuss, you want to ask?
Hello. So
Yes.
when we are increasing the resources for the VM,
Hmm.
so if users are logged into them, they will have to log out and relog in, right? Because we'll
No,
have
then
to.
in that case, this machine will serve the services, na? That
Okay,
is why we are configuring 3 virtual machines.
okay. So those session will continue or will run on three different scenarios in simultaneously.
Exactly.
Okay, okay, got it.
Yeah.
So now three of the servers are on active
Yes,
mode.
3 servers are going to be in active mode if you are going to select the high availability of the virtual machines. Either you can configure one virtual machine, but you have an option that you want to configure this virtual machine onto three different racks, so that if any of the virtual machine will get down, still my users will be able to reach through the second virtual machine or the third virtual machine. Okay. There
Yeah,
are multiple things. We have one more thing, that is virtual machine scale set, VMSS. What it will do, whenever any virtual machine is going to get a load, then it will automatically create one more virtual machine, and both the virtual machine then are going to share the load. There we have multiple things to do it, and we are going to discuss it in our upcoming lectures. So just you have to understand that my cloud options, cloud vendors are giving you the 99.9% SLA. Even you have one more option. If let's say this data center was you selected a region in India, but now let's say there is a natural disaster in India, the whole data center is down, then how customers will be able to reach? Then Microsoft is giving you one more option, that if there is any kind of situation, in that case you can build the infra on another region also. It is going to replicate the same kind of virtual machine onto another region also. So at the time of the configuration of virtual machine, you have to define all these things, that whether you want it should be under local or it should be globally available, right? Local means within India, global means outside India also, either it is US or UAE or East US to whatever. Well, it means you can define the location based on your requirement. Okay, don't worry, we are going to learn about all these things, how to configure all these things, how they are going to work in real time. So we are going to talk about, we are going to configure all these things practically. Let me ensure you one thing, that my sessions are totally based on practicals. My session are totally based on the real time scenarios, how companies are working. My session are totally based on the experiences I have gained in my past 7 years. So we are here that we are going to learn that how companies are using these roles, how companies are working on these roles, on these features. All right, so we are not here to prepare for 104 exam. So 104 if you want to prepare for the exam, then I can give you some PDFs, and I can give you some even dumps also. From there you can clear the exam. Okay, but here our main agenda is to learn the lifetime scenarios. How? Because see, in the, if you're going for the interview, in that case interviewer is going to ask the lifetime functionality. They are not going to give you four types of they are not going to give you a question based on the like you are going to get in the 104 exam. Okay, so they are just going to ask that how load balancers will work, how virtual machine skill set can be configured, why, what is virtual machine skill set, how I can move my on-prem infra to cloud, what and all prerequisite in order to move my on-prem infra to cloud. So all these are going to be the interview questions, right? So we are here to prepare for the interview, so that, because see, in cloud there are lots of opportunity, and even by 2025 there would be 90% of the organizations are going to move their infra to the cloud. Okay, so our agenda, our motive is to get a job into cloud technology, and then whatever the field you want to choose, either you can go for cloud security, you can go for Azure or DevOps, right? You can go for networking, you can go for architect. Okay, so the thing is, first of all, we have to understand the concept, we have to understand the functioning, and then you can choose your expertise, that in which field you want to go. All right, now, so what is cloud computing? This is what I explained, is the delivery of computing services over the internet. You just need a internet connection, that's it, and a valid subscription also, right? You have to get the subscription. And one more thing, guys, so in case of cloud, in case of Microsoft, there are two types of subscription. First, pay as you go, and the second, free trial, right? So companies are using pay as you go subscription, and we are going to work on free trial. Okay, and free trial, if you are going to sign up for the free trial account, in that case you will be getting $200 to use the Microsoft services for 1 month. Okay, for now we are not going to sign up, might be we are going to start our sessions from next week, I'm not sure. So please do not sign up for now, right? I will let you know when you have to sign up, because I don't want that you to waste 1 week, because we are going to have class on weekends only, right? So when we will be having our full-fledged classes, then you have to sign up to the 104 to the Azure. Okay, and I will let you know the procedure, how we can get a free trial account in Microsoft. Okay.
Can I ask a question regarding
Yeah.
classes?
Yes, please go on. Yeah.
So, how often the classes would be only on Saturdays, or Saturdays and Sundays?
Saturday, Sunday both.
And what would be the time duration? 1
That
hour,
would
2
be
hour?
that would be 2, or depending upon the topic also. If that topic is taking some time, because some of the configuration may take some time also, so it depends, but I would restrict it to 2 hours, not more than that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so it is the delivery of computing services over the internet, which is otherwise known as the cloud. These services include servers, storage, databases, networking, software, analytics, and intelligence. Earlier, when you have to build a file server, right? You have to procure a hardware first of all, and you have to get a good amount of the space also in order to build that file server, and then your users will be able to access. But now Not needed at all. No need to do all these things. There is a separate service available on Azure. You can opt for that. You can choose, you can create your file servers over there, and then the users through the internet, they will be able to access your file services. And even you can map that file, shares with the user systems also. Now let's say you have created a file share of 5 GB, right? So obviously that file share is going to be on Azure portal, right? But that file share can be mapped to the systems of your organization. And then the users will be able to place their data over there. All right. Now it can include server, storage, database, network, software, security, and analytics, right? See, why we are going for cloud computing? Because now we don't want to manage all these things. We don't want to manage the on-prem infra, because to manage that on-prem infra, we will be needing lots of requirements, right? So companies are choosing companies don't want to bother all these things, right? They want their services available for the users at any cost, right? That is why they are choosing the cloud. If there is a there is security, much security available, right? Let's say I'm going with the banking sector, let's say. So in that case, yes, banking sectors can opt for on-prem infra depending upon their requirement. So obviously, if they want to secure their customers account and all, so in that case, they can create the on-prem infra rather than going with the cloud. Still, Microsoft is giving the assurance that there will be no harm. But if I'm taking the example of these banks and all, still they are choosing on-prem infra rather than going with the cloud. Okay, that is their choice, right? We can't do anything in that part. All right. So rather than managing files on a local storage devices, cloud computing makes it easy, make it possible to save them over internet. Right. So with the help, as I told, you will be needing one internet connection. And with that internet, you will be able to access the file servers, the file shares, and you can store your data onto that. All right. Then types of cloud computing. Right. So cloud computing cloud computing has two parts, that is deployment model and then service model. Okay, so what is deployment model? That is public cloud, hybrid cloud, and private cloud, right? And what is service model? That is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and then software as a service, right? Then what is public cloud? Public cloud is kind of, you can say it is a bus where actually everyone can travel. You can take the example of transport, right? So on that bus or on that train, everyone can travel, right? But in case of private cloud, you are going to own it. Private car, the best example is the car, your personal car. Until or unless you are not giving the permission to anyone, no one will be able to sit in your car. But in case of a bus, everyone can sit. Okay, so this is called private cloud, in which you will be having your own infra and you are going to manage it, right? You have to manage that infra, you have to do the maintenance and all for that infra. right? And hybrid is the combination of public and cloud, public and private both. The example is taxi. You cannot own the taxi, but when you are going to hire it, then only you will be having the permission. And when you leave the taxi, in that case, other people will hire it. So you can say it is the combination of both public and private, right? Now let's understand more about what is public cloud. So public cloud provides a shared platform that is accessible to the general public through an internet connection, right? Public cloud operated on pay as per use model and administered by the third party, that is cloud service provider, right? So you can see here what is the example of public cloud, that is AWS, Azure, IBM, SunCloud, Alibaba, and many more. In that case, you are going to build the infra, but it is managed at the back end. It is managed by the third party, which is going to be the vendor, your cloud vendor. So this is public cloud, right? And then we have private cloud. A private cloud is a model of cloud computing where the infrastructure is dedicated to a single organization. You can make a dedicated infra. You can make a subscription for you only, and you will be having the control on it, right? The cloud infrastructure is exclusively operated by a single organization, right? It can be managed by the organization or a third party and may exist on premises or off premises. An example can be AWS and VMware, right? Then you have hybrid cloud. So it is going to have the functionality of both public and private. For example, federal agencies opt for private clouds when sensitive information is involved. Also they use the public cloud to share data sets and general public or other government departments. You can take one more example. You can take the example of banking also, right? So banking is a best example to understand the public and private, right? So see, if I am opening any of the bank website, oh, okay. So this all thing, it can be the example of public cloud. The information is available for public in this case, right? But if any user is going to log in, then in that case it will become the private cloud. Only the user will be able to see its information. Other users will not be able to. Whatever public information they want to share, that is the example of public cloud. And then if the user is logging on to their accounts, so only that user will be able to see the information of his account. Other users will not be able to. That is the example, public and private. Based on the requirement you want to share, based on the services you want to share with the public, right? That you can host on the public cloud. And when you don't want to share the information with public, then in that case you can make your infra on private cloud. All right. Then Then you have infrastructure as a service. So these are the models available in the cloud: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Now, what is infrastructure as a service? That means you are making your infrastructure on cloud platform. Okay, so this is infrastructure as a service. So in IaaS is a cloud service that provides a basic computing infrastructure, right? Services are available on pay for what you use. This is what I was explaining, that cloud is giving you the option that pay as per the use. Okay, so infrastructure as service providers include AWS, and then Microsoft Azure, and then Google Compute. Users are IT administrator. We are making our infra, we are making the infrastructure on a cloud, on the cloud, to make our configurations, to make our requirements fulfill, right? Then we have platform as a service. So platform as a service, you can say, if let's say you want to run an application, right, and that application needs .NET or Java or any other language. So in that case, no need to configure all these things manually. You can go for platform as a service model. You can select your platform, on which platform you want to run the application, and then you can test it. Like you want, then it should have a .NET, it should have a Java, it should have Python. So it is just giving you the option that you have to just create a platform as a service. You have to choose your platform, and then you can either you can manage your you can run your applications, or you can test the application also. Now let's say you want to do the testing of your application. So in that case, either you want to do the manual testing or the automated testing, that is Selenium basically. So if you want Selenium, right, so in that case you can go for the platform as service. You can select that you want a Selenium. You are going, so Microsoft is going to give you the option. You have to just create a Selenium platform, and then over it you can just configure your application, and then you can test it whether it is running fine or not. Same way, depending upon requirement, there are multiple platforms offered by the Microsoft. We can select and we can test our environment, and we can run our applications, right? The users are basically software developers, because it is majorly used by the software developers, because only they are going to build their application, they want to test their application. So majorly they are going to work on platform as a service, right? Then we have software as a service. The best example is Office 365, OneDrive. Earlier what you were doing, you were installing Office 13, 19, 16 on your laptop, but now it is not needed. Now Microsoft or AWS is giving you the option also for this, or Google also is giving you the option that you can run directly your Excel on the Excel sheets. You can run your you can access your Outlook on the cloud. No need to install Outlook on your machine. Directly you can log in onto Outlook with the help of internet. OneDrive, whenever you are going to store the data on OneDrive, that data can be accessed from anywhere in the world. You just need internet connection. OneDrive, Google Drive, example of software as a service, right? So in SaaS, cloud provider host and manage the software application on pay as you go pricing model. Okay, let me give you one more example. See, if you want to if you earlier what you were doing, if you want to configure the the SMTP, simple mail transfer protocol, then in that case you have to build an exchange server also. That exchange server you were building on your on-prem environment, but now nothing is needed. You have to just procure the license of Office 365. After procuring that license, you can manage your exchange server on cloud. No need to build the exchange server separately. You can define your rules over there. You can whitelist or blacklist the users list, that from where user will get the mails and from where they will not. So in that case, these at the back end, these all things are managed by the provider. Take one more example, Intunes. Intunes is also widely used in the organization nowadays. It is totally cloud-based solution. No need to build infra for that. You have to just procure the license of Intunes, and then you can manage your end devices with the Intunes. So Intunes you can compare with SCCM, Software Center Configuration Manager. Right? For Software Center, you have to build the infra, that is database, domain controller, and then your primary site server. So these all things you have to configure on your data center. But the same thing is now Intune is doing. And the difference is no need to build the servers. Everything is being managed by the Microsoft. You have to just procure the license. So that is also a good example to understand software as a service. Any query so far?
Just trying to share my thoughts here.
Yes, please.
Aren't we giving our privacy totally into someone other's hands in case of Microsoft and Google? Like Intunes, you just compare with SCCM. So aren't we giving our privacy or full control to someone other's hands? Like, just a general thought.
Control in
Yeah.
the sense, Umar, we are not giving the control of our virtual machines to them.
Correct. Which is
Right?
correct. Yes.
We can encrypt our devices. Basically, we can encrypt our data, and that encryption and decryption key, you can keep it with you only. Others will not be able to access.
Perfect.
Right?
Yep.
If you are storing
Yep.
your data on cloud, right, then in that case you can encrypt that data, and only you will be having the permission to decrypt it. No one will be able to do.
Even the cloud provider, right?
Yes, they will not be able to do. At the end, yes, if any service is needed from their end, in that case they can intervene and they can help us out if we forgot about or if we are not able to decrypt the data. In that case they can give us some solution, but at the back end we are totally secured. They are not, see why they are, so if they are going to get access of our data, right, so why they are running they like
a big
why they are
organization,
serving it,
right?
right? Obviously.
Correct.
So they are not going to ruin their reputation and all, right?
Perfect. Yeah. Over the course of time, there were some news like in case of WhatsApp, they are looking on the data. Mark Zuckerberg and such. Your data is not secure. It is being
See,
sold to
Umar,
the other companies and
yeah,
such.
exactly. See, Umar, that is totally free of cost application.
Correct.
In
Yeah.
that case, you need no to pay anything.
That's
So from where they are going to earn then? So they are selling your data actually. Even Google is also selling your data. See, have you ever wondered whenever you are trying to access any e-commerce website? Let's say I searched for a shoes, right? Daily, whenever I used to open my phone or my laptop, I used to get the ad for that particular phone. How it is getting done? That is all due to, because they are not charging anything from us. But
anything.
in the back end, they are selling our data to the e-commerce websites or these vendors basically. But in case of Microsoft and these AWS, they are charging for the services. They are giving us a SLA. They are giving us a basically you can say confidence that there would be not any breach in the security.
Understood. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Yeah, thank you for the clarification and the example.
No problem. No problem. Yeah. Anything else, guys? You want to discuss? You want to ask? Any confusion?
One more thing.
Yes.
In the beginning, you said there are two types of cloud, and I misheard it. One is like servers, and what was the other one? Infrastructure and the
infrastructure as a
service.
service, software as a service, and then platform as a service. These are the cloud models.
Yeah, there is one before these three. The types of the cloud.
Okay,
guess.
hybrid cloud, private cloud, and then public cloud.
Public cloud. Yes.
Yeah.
Got it.
Deployment models, basically, right?
Yeah, public, private, and hybrid. Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't worry, this is just a demo session. When we are going to start our full-fledged classes, I will be explaining each and every topic from very depth. Right?
Oh, I see. Okay. I'm trying to catching up. I thought I just missed it.
No problem. I'm going to explain it again, Umar. Don't worry.
Okay. No. I'm cleared. I was thinking like maybe it's going super fast. I missed it, and
no, don't
it's
worry.
not going to be a repeat. So thank you for clarification. You said it's a demo, and
don't worry at all, Umar. Even whenever we are going to have our classes, at that time itself, if you're not able to understand any concept, you can unmute yourself anytime and you can ask your queries.
Thank you so much.
So my sessions are totally going to be interactive, right? I don't want to just be here that I will teach and I'll go, right? I don't want all these things. If a session is taking time, I'll be okay with it.
Perfect.
Yeah. Anyone else want to ask something before we go ahead? All right, assuming everything is clear, let's go ahead then. Life cycle of cloud computing solution. Whenever you want to opt the cloud vendor, cloud services, right? What and all things we have to prepare, what and all prep work we have to do before moving to the cloud, right? First of all, I will define my purpose. That what is the purpose? Why I want to go to cloud? Right? The first and foremost step is to define the purpose for which you want to create a cloud. For this, you have to first understand your business requirement and what type of application you want to run on the cloud. After this, you have to decide whether you want your cloud to be public, private, or hybrid. Depending upon the nature of the application, you are going to analyze, right? You are going to analyze that either it is going to be public or it is going to be private, or it is going to be hybrid. Right? So once you are clear with it, that yes, I want to go for hybrid. Let's say you are starting a e-commerce website, right? So you can, even for hybrid, you can take one more example, that is e-commerce website, right? In e-commerce, let's say I'm opening Amazon for now, Amazon.com. Right? So in this Amazon.com, I can see the options or the basically information that Amazon wants to share with me. This is a public cloud, right? And what could be the private? When you are going to sign in, right, only you will be able to see your orders, others will not be able to. And take one more example. Let's say Microsoft is creating a database of all the users. So are you guys will be able to see the database, or Microsoft is going to share that database with you? Obviously, whatever the internals employees are going to be there in the Amazon, they are going to have the access of Amazon database. Why they want to share it with you, and why they will share it with you? Why it is needed? Right? So this is also can be the example of hybrid, where actually both public and private cloud is going to be there. All right. So once you are clear with the requirement, then you have to define the hardware for it. You have to define how much compute power is needed to run that application. You have to analyze that that how many users are going to hit your website in a day. Obviously, for you have to just make one idea, one estimation basically. Then based on requirement, as I told, that if the users are hitting, number of users are hitting your website, then based on that you can increase your compute power. At any point of time you can do it, but initially you have to select that how much hardware you needed, and even you have to analyze after that. I believe the cost will also be there. I will let you know. And you have to decide. After deciding it, you have to verify, you have to check that what is going to be the cost of that compute power. Okay. So deciding what type of hardware you will need is the most thought after the process. After this process, you have to define the hardware, right? Then one need to be very precise in making the decision. For this, you will have to choose the compute services that will provide the right support when you resize your compute capacity to maintain your application running. There is one more thing on top of my head. I forgot it. Oh, what I was trying to explain here. Chalo, if I'll come back, I'll let you know. Anyways, so define the hardware. Then you have defined the storage. Obviously, number of users are going to create their account, right? Number of users are going to purchase the products from your website. Number of users are going to store their contact information, their addresses. So for that, we will be needing a storage, right? Then how much storage is needed? You have to define that. Every application need a good amount of storage where its data can be stored safely, right? And whenever you are going to make a storage, you can encrypt it using BitLocker, or you can use BitLocker, or there is algorithms also, that is asymmetrical encryption system. You can use that algorithm to make the storage as encrypted. No one will be able to access other than you. Okay. So for any application, storage type, now storage type is also a key factor, whether it is going to be a SSD or it is going to be a normal SSD. If you want the read write speed of data should be high, then obviously you have to go for SSD, right? Then for any application storage type, that should be chosen carefully. For this, one should choose the storage service where they can back up and archive their data over the internet. So if let's say I have data which is older than 1 year, why to keep that data into my storage? We can archive it, na? You used to do it for your emails also. Whenever it is not needed, you used to archive those emails, because unnecessarily they are going to occupy your storage, right? So you can you can archive your data, you can take the backup of the data, right? So there are multiple tiers available basically in case of cloud. That is cool tier. In case of Azure, that is cool tier, hot tier, and then archival tier. We are going to study about in our upcoming lectures all these things. Right, so archival tier, what it will do, you can define the life cycle of the data, that when a data is older than 1 year, then automatically that data will be moved to the archival tier, because archival tier is most cheaper. And whenever you want to get that data, whenever you want to get that whenever you want to get that data, you can go to your archives and you can get it back to your normal storage. Right, don't worry, we are going to study about it. Then define the network. Now you have to define the networking also. You have to define networking as well. Right, networking is the key that will deliver your data to the end user. So the network must be configured sincerely and should be flawless so that intruders cannot break into the network. Obviously, you have to define the security, you have to define the routing, right? You have to define the gateways, you have to define the VPNs in order to make your connectivity secured. Right, so one should define the network that securely delivers data, videos, and application with low latency and high transfer speed. Take the example of Netflix. Whenever you used to watch any movie or a series, are you getting any kind of latency? No.
It depends upon your network connection as well.
That also
If
depends.
it's
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
if it is sorry to cut you off, if it's intermittent, so you might see a lagging.
exactly, that is the issue from your end and not from the Netflix end.
Correct.
Right, Netflix is, if you have a good internet connectivity, in that case you are not going to face any kind of issue whenever you are going to watch the videos. I'm just giving you an example, Umar. Don't go very much technically, okay?
Yeah, I just want to go on the surface level, just to clarify the things.
Yeah, I got it.
Thank you.
No
You
problem.
just need the input from the students as well,
Yeah. Obviously, you can
Just want to
counter
give
me.
you a realization, my presence. I'm here, I'm
Exactly,
listening.
Umar. Exactly, Umar. You can counter me anytime.
No, sir. You are our teacher, We are here to seek knowledge from you. Yeah, that's why,
Okay.
that's the reason. Thank
Don't
you.
worry, just kidding. Huh?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay. So define networking, right? In that case, you are going to make the connectivity. You are going to make the connectivity secured between your endpoints and your machines, your infra. All right. Then the fifth point will be security. Again, it comes in the networking itself, that you have to configure the firewalls. Right now, there is one more thing. Like if you want, let's say I have configured one virtual machine on cloud. This is the virtual machine that I created on the Azure. Right, I want that only Umar will be able to connect this virtual machine, others will not be able to. Right, then in that case, what I can do, I can define in the security. I'm going to define the public IP of Umar, that only he will be able to connect this virtual machine. Other than that, no one will be able to. If other will be able to connect this, they will get the error. They will not be able to connect it.
Correct.
That is called a network security group, NSG. And in that we can define multiple things. Actually, this is just one example. There would be multiple things that we can configure while we are going to configure the NSG. We can allow port 3389 only. Why 3389 is used?
RDP.
Exactly. So in order to take the systems on remote, we have to enable the RDP port we have to enable. right? I want to enable RDP, right? But I'm not going to enable ICMP. In case of
Which
if
is
I'm
ping, right? Ping.
Exactly. So if I want that Umar will be able to take the system on remote, but he will not be able to ping it, and I will be able to ping it. Only me can ping this machine. So in that case, I will define my public IP, and I am going to enable ICMP port for my public IP only. And here the RDP port is enabled for Umar's public IP. So this is, I'm taking the example of public. If you are don't want to communicate with public, you want to work internally inside the cloud infra. So for that also you can define. Now one more thing, let's say, just think logically and do let me know. I configured two virtual machines. One is in East US and one is in India. So are these machines will be able to communicate with each other?
Are these machines created on the same cloud, same region? Sorry, the region is different. Yeah,
Region
they
is
won't.
different, subscription is same.
They won't, I guess, because the region is different.
It's different. But what the protocol were set for this?
I'm just asking normally, right? Don't think about all these, right? Whether the
Technical
configured
stuff.
or not. I'm just think logically whether it will communicate or not.
No, because we need to configure VPC peering, right?
Exactly. Right. So in case of AWS, it is called as VPC peering, right? In case of Azure, it is called as VNet peering, virtual network peering. Right. So these two regions by default, they will not be able to communicate. Even you can take one more example. If let's say I have configured a virtual machine on the same region, but this virtual machine is running on a different subnet. So will they be able to communicate?
No.
No, obviously no.
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 So we have to set up the peering. We have to if I'm talking about on-prem, it is called as routing. And if you are talking about the different regions, in case of on-prem, it is called as MPLS. You have to connect you have to take the MPLS connectivity, and then you will be able to connect with Office 1 and Office 2. All right. So this is just a basic understanding, right? Right. So let me go back to this PPT. Now security, and then define the management process and tools. Right, once you are able to analyze all these things, then in that case you are going to configure some management tools also, like monitoring tools. Basically it can be Datadog, which is going to trigger any alert, a SCOM alert. You can configure that if any of the virtual machine is down, or if there is any network is any security breach, in that case it should trigger one alert to you. Right, so in this phase you have to analyze that part. Right, then the seventh one is testing and process. You are done with all these things, you are done with all these 6 points, and then at the last, first of all, you have to build a test infra. Right, once everything is fine, then you can make your production infra. It is always good to run the application on first. If you're choosing very initially, if you're choosing the cloud, then in that case you should configure the test infra with very minimal compute power, right? And once everything is working fine, then you can move, or then you can make your production infra, right? So testing and process testing is yet another important thing in the life cycle, of deploying any application. All the faults can be figured out only through the testing. Obviously, until unless we are not going to test, how we will be able to get whether our everything is working as per requirement or not. So you should do the testing, right? And during testing, you should verify your application using various developer tools where you build, test, and deploy your code quickly, right? So this is the life cycle in order to choose any, or in order to go for the cloud infra. Okay, now this is just a brief intro about the cloud computing, right? Now let me move to the topics that we are going to cover in this whole module, in this whole Azure 104 module. So I have 9 modules, guys, right? Each module has let me go to the first of all, let me show you. Each module has its the you can say the assignment also. Okay, give me a moment. Yeah, so PPTs, yeah, so these are the modules, right? 104. Okay, so first of all, we'll talk about the introduction about cloud computing, which we already covered today also, but again we will cover it later on as well. Then how we can create a Azure account, right? How we can access our Azure portal with the help of graphical user interface. Also you can access with Azure CLI also we can access, and with PowerShell also we can access Azure, or Azure subscription, right? Then module 2, which is I think based on the storage, I believe. Yeah, storage. That how to create the storage accounts, what and all options are available in storage, local redundant storage, zone redundant storage, global geo redundant storage, ZRS. Okay, so all these things we are going to talk about. What is blob storage, what is Azure file share, how to work with Azure file sync, right? So multiple things we are going to cover in the module 2, right? Then we have module 3, under which we will cover storage, the advanced storage, Azure data box, Azure backup service, Azure shared access signature. So this is the thing actually, Umar, through which we can make our storage more secured. Even after encrypting it, then after encrypting it also, we can make it more secured by applying the shared access signature, right?
Perfect.
So this is kind of certificate, you can say, kind of, just to understand, right? Yeah,
Sure.
so this is kind of that. All right, then we have module 4, in which we are going to talk about Azure compute services, like your virtual machine scale set, custom VM images. Now let's say you want 100 servers, 100 virtual machine to be installed with IIS feature and DNS feature, just for example. So do we need to log in individually onto each and every server in each and every virtual machine, and then we are going to install the feature manually? No, directly we can create our image right? And that image we can deploy in our virtual machines. Automatically, those virtual machines will get the IIS and DNS feature. That is called custom VM images, right? Then Azure virtual machine scale set. I was giving you the example. If let's say if let's say CPU threshold comes to 80%, you defined one condition that if the CPU threshold comes to 80%, then automatically it will create one more virtual machine. If still it is 80%, then again it will create one more virtual machine. That we can do via virtual machine scale set, VMSS. You can take the example of Hotstar. Nowadays, this World Cup is going on, right? So around 3 crore or 4 crore people are watching match on Hotstar, cricket match on Hotstar. How they are managing the infra? How, have you ever think about? Because at the back end, obviously Hotstar is configured on the server. But how 1 crore people or 4 crores people watching the match without any interruption on Hotstar? That is all because of VMSS. Whenever loads comes to the virtual machine, automatically it is going to create a new virtual machine. And whenever the load will be down, the virtual machines will be deleted automatically. That means I need to pay for the virtual machine for 3 hours or 4 hours only. No need to keep it with me. Okay, so this is also a good example to understand this VMSS. Whenever loads come up, automatically it will trigger the creation of new virtual machine, and whenever it will goes down, automatically it will delete that virtual machine, and Microsoft is going to charge for the period that I have used it for 2, 3 or 4 hours, whatever the time period will be, right? Chalo. Then data disk configuration of Azure VM and all. So all these things we are going to cover in module 4, all right, and then module 5, in which we will cover virtual network, VNets, network security, firewall, VPN. Okay, so all these things we are going to cover in the module 5. VNet to VNet connectivity. I was giving you the example. If let's say there are two virtual networks, one is in East US, one is in India, Central India, then how we will be able to communicate? So we have to do the VNet peering. Okay. All right. Then we have module 6, in which we are going to talk about load balancer, advanced networking, load balancers, public load balancer, VPN gateways. Okay, types of load balancers, how to create a load balancer. So these are totally based on labs. These are not theoretical topic, right? These are totally based on labs. So the thing is, we will understand the concept, that why it is needed, and then we are going to configure it. And moving forward, then I'm going to give you one book also for 104. If you want to dive into the topic, then in that case you can go through with that book also. Okay. Then we have module 7, which is based on IAM, identity access management, in which you are going to define the roles, that who will be having the control on your subscription. Because see, in a organization, it might possible that there will be multiple users, there are going to be multiple employees who are going to work on your subscription, right? So based on their experience, you can delegate the control to other users also. Okay, and even so, if whenever you are going to join any organization, any new organization, in that case you are not going to get the full control on their Azure portal or AWS portal. you are going to get the delegate control, that only few operations you will be able to do. Like only you will be able to create a virtual machine. Apart from that, you will not be able to do anything, right? But as you are going to spend some time in the organization, based on that, you will be getting some more accesses on their cloud platform. Okay, so how to do all these things? So we are going to talk about in module 7. Okay, and then module 8, which is totally based on the Kubernetes and Dockers. So I do not have a dedicated PPT for that. I have a Microsoft documentation for it. So I will provide you that documentation, which includes module number 8, right? And then we have module 9, which is Azure. Acha, isme it covers Azure Active Directory also. How to make Azure AD, right? How to configure Azure AD sync. Basically, if you have a on-prem Active Directory, on-prem domain controller, and you want to sync it with the Azure AD, then how we can do it? So we can do it via Azure AD sync. We have to set up that tool, and then we will be able to make the synchronization. And the users which are going to be the part of our on-prem domain, they will be replicated to the Azure Active Directory.
Azure AD Connect.
Yes, that is the tool, Azure AD Connect tool that we have to use. Okay. Yeah, so this is based on Azure Active Directory. And the last one is how to configure the backups, how to configure the monitoring, right? How to configure how to get the logs, and how to get the alerts. That let's say my virtual machine is running with 80% of CPU. Then in that case, it should trigger one alert to me that I have to take action on it. Either I can increase the CPU, whatever the action I will take, that is other part. But at least I should be aware of that, yes, this machine is reaching to the this much percentage of CPU, that this machine is reaching to the 90% of the hard disk usage. So for all these things, what we can do, we can configure the alerts and actions, and even we can make the automated action also. Let's say it it triggered an alert that the CPU percentage is 80%. Okay, then I'm going to define in the action that it will automatically increase one more virtual CPU to my virtual machine. Right, that is comes under action. Then how to configure backup of the virtual machine, of the hard disk, of the storage, how to restore it. So all these things we are going to cover in the module 9. So it is totally based on the topics provided by the Microsoft. So whole module is based on the topics provided by the Microsoft. Okay, and even whatever the documentation I have, so all these PPTs and all the assignments and the PDF notes and all, so I'm going to create a classroom link for you all, so you can join that classroom, and then from there you can get the interview questions also, you can get the PPTs also, or you can get these books also, PDF books also for Azure 104. Right, so this is all about today from my end. If you have any confusion, any query you have, you can ask.
Are we going to discuss on Office 365?
No,
Exchange?
that is not included in Azure 104. That is a different topic, 365. Yes.
Can we learn some thing about PowerShell?
PowerShell, Rohit, see, we are going to work on the on graphical, because see, it is difficult to learn PowerShell in 1 month or 2 months, right? So, but what I can give you a PowerShell book. You can follow it and you can write your commands. Okay, but for this module, I am going to use graphical options. But whenever it is needed, I will give you the script also in order to build a virtual machine, how you can build it with a PowerShell command. That all things I will give you. But majorly, we are going to focus on graphical user interface.
Answer a concern is that the PowerShell much important to write for Azure 104.
It is not important whenever you are going for the automation or DevOps. In that case, you should be good with the PowerShell and scripting language basically.
Okay, sir, fine.
Yeah. Anything else?
Hello.
I have a question, sir.
Yes, Umar. Yes, please.
Shall you provide a kind of support or assistance to pass the exam at the end?
Don't worry.
Because beside the skill, at the end of the day, the certificate on your resume does matter too.
Don't worry.
Because
that is on me.
yeah, you have to show the interviewer like you achieve something.
Exactly.
On behalf of that, you can present yourself and then get into the questions and such,
Exactly. So don't worry. I'll let you know. I'll give you.
Thank you. That's the part of the reason I'm here in this class.
Don't
Part of the
worry.
reason I'm saying. Yeah, thank
Don't
you.
worry at all. Don't worry at all. It's on me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're the best, sir. You're the best. Where you been so far? That's the very first class with you, and I'm impressed.
Thank you. All right, so let's wrap up the session for today, and you will get the further notification from the networking team that from when we are going to start the classes. Okay, and even you can communicate, or you can connect them in order to get the information that what is going to be the class timings and all. And after that, once we will start our classes, so we will make our personal communication group also. I'll create a WhatsApp group, so over there you will get all the timings, and if let's say there is some delay in the timings and all, so I will inform you on the WhatsApp group.
So what about the tomorrow? Is there any?
I'm not sure on it, Purna. So might be you will get the notification from the networking team. So they have not told me whether I need to start it from tomorrow. So I'm not sure on that part. So I
But
need to
they
check.
told, sir, but they told me that the class are started from today onwards. So it's on a.
No problem. If there will be a class tomorrow, definitely we will meet at 7 p.m. Okay. I will check with them that when to start, or definitely if there would be a class tomorrow, definitely we will start, right? Not worry on that. All right, so let's wrap up, and we'll see you tomorrow, or based on the notification you will get, based on that we will connect, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks all. Have a good one. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.